For an entire decade, we lived under a misconception that brilliant lines of code had reduced the cost of human transportation. In reality, venture capitalists subsidized those rights, absorbing massive losses to artificially keep fares low. This strategy relied on a specific economic window, the era of zero-interest rate policy. With global interest rates hovering near zero, borrowing money was practically free. Sovereign wealth funds and elite VC firms recognized this anomaly and handed Uber a staggering $30 billion war chest to burn through. The early business model relied on this Millennial Lifestyle Subsidy rather than sustainable operations, a strategy with a fixed expiration date. The company's initial objective was a strategy known as blitzscaling, which prioritized rapid growth over generating actual profit. By eating a loss on almost every transaction, the company trained an entire generation of consumers to abandon public transit and skip personal car ownership. This multi-billion-dollar cash burn also served a defensive purpose, allowing them to bleed money until traditional taxi cartels could no longer compete. This chart maps the U.S. ride-sharing market in 2012. Before Uber, traditional taxis controlled 99% of the sector. Starved out by subsidized app fares, that dominance collapsed. In just a few years, taxi market share shrank to 12.5%. This shift replaced existing competition with a system built on multi-billion-dollar subsidies and market capture. This market capture led Uber to a $75 billion public valuation, even as the company reported a $3 billion operating loss in 2018. To explain these losses to investors, executives compared their early years to Amazon's post-1997 IPO strategy, claiming they were building the Amazon of transportation. However, Jeff Bezos operated under an entirely different set of market conditions. When Amazon went public, they captured a vacant e-commerce space and built a supply chain with no structural competition. Uber entered a saturated physical market and spent millions on incentives to fend off immediate, lower-priced rivals like Lyft. Uber's growth relied on renting market share with venture capital Red Inc. Then the global economy shifted. Interest rates rapidly climbed higher, and the massive flow of free venture capital stopped. The corporation hit an immediate crisis, operating a cash-incinerating global logistics network without its original financial safety net. To survive, they pulled two levers. First, they ended the subsidy, forcing riders to pay the expensive cost of keeping a personal driver on demand. Second, they deployed algorithmic pricing to reduce the percentage of the fare paid out to their 3 million drivers. This math is visible on the street. If a rider pays $40 and the driver takes home $16, the corporation extracts the remaining cut to generate revenue. Phase 2 reached for profitability by transferring the financial burden onto the workforce and the user. Even after increasing fares and reducing driver pay, the core business of moving people struggled to generate the net income demanded by Wall Street. This led to Phase 3, a pivot away from moving people and toward acting as a digital real estate broker. Today, the company generates high-margin profit by operating as an advertising network, selling targeted placements directly inside the app interface. Secondary platforms like food delivery serve as vehicles to deploy this ad network to a captive audience. The era of the cheap ride is over. To ensure the company's survival, the passenger became the product.